friends, it's Amy at Doki Doki Forest, and today we are up to some glue booking. Is that a verb? Glue booking in my glue book? I'm not sure. But this is my colors glue book. This is a really fun glue book. It's new to me. It's not new to YouTube, but I have never had a colors glue book before. Now, I followed a tutorial from Nicole at Relax Cut Glue because she knows her stuff, and you probably know her. I will link her down below, but she works in her glue book, creates in her glue book, all kinds of different glue books all the time, and it's very inspiring. So I made this journal following her process of using a composition book and washi tape to tape 2 pages at a time together. And then, the washi tape matches the colors that you will be working with. So I'm going to see how far I can get in about 30 minutes. Now, of course, this is sped up times 4 because if this was real time, it would be multiple hours. And there's a lot of time when I'm just kind of taking out images and deliberating and wondering where I'm going to put them, if I'm going to use them, and that wouldn't be really that fun to watch, I don't think, because they're really long and sort of quiet. That's the other thing, is that I'm very quiet when I'm working in my glue book. I think if I were to talk and try to do it, it would be really difficult for me. I could try it, but yeah, I think I could do like 1 page, but I kind of want to do like a marathon session, like just get in the zone. When you get in the zone with something, you're creating something, or it could be writing, it could be baking, anything, you just get in the zone and you just want to, see how far you can get without being interrupted. And that means getting interrupted by your own thoughts too, because if I have to think of what to say, then I'm not 100% thinking about the page and the images and what I want to put together. So hopefully that makes sense. And I hope you don't mind the voiceover. But this way you can see what I create and it doesn't take, hours and hours of your time. So of course we're starting with red. And the idea was I thought I could get some big images down. Now the fun thing about these glue books is that you can just keep adding to the pages. Now this is true of any journal. Any journal, you can always keep adding to the pages. Put another image in, maybe add some paint, cut out some words to put on the page, a person, a focal point, anything. You can have them have as much or as little as you want. So that's what makes them so fun to play in. So I am just basically dumping out one color at a time. And what I mean by that is I have these folders. Now before I just had a manila folder that I was keeping all of my images in for my colors glue book. And it didn't really work out too well because the images would fall out and they were just sort of stacked on top of each other. But now I have a different file folder system that I'm using where there are actually these big envelopes that have different sections, and I can safely use each section to tuck in images, and then that way I can just open up to one section and it's all the red, and I can just pull that out. And so that's what I'm doing. And everything is neat, and it really helps when I'm putting away images as well. I'll show you the folders. They're just from the Dollar Tree, and honestly I wouldn't have gotten them at all except that I saw Allison over at AJ's Inspired Life. She had found some folders that she was going to keep some of her supplies in, some of her images and other journaling sort of papers and things. And I loved it. It had a little pocket on the front. I think it was like a smaller little pouch, but it was attached to the bigger folder. And it was plastic. And I went to look for them and I didn't find the exact thing she had, but I found something else that I thought worked. So at the end of this video, I will show you those because, they're really helpful and way better than what I was doing before. And I haven't even separated my images. They're separated by color. I have not separated them by size. So my red section or orange or yellow, whatever color it is, just has every size together. So small and big, and most things are not even fussy cut yet. So I know that it probably would be easier if I fussy cut everything that was smaller. And maybe I'll do that. Right now I'm working mostly with big images, but see, I'm using like a little piece there to just fill in that corner. I just don't really want to see any of the white composition book paper. So I'm just trying to fill all that in. And then once that's filled in, I feel like I have my first layer down. And then I can build on it. And I can still add large images on top of this if I want to, but I can also add some of the more detailed images, the smaller images. So I'm thinking I need to have a little session where I just sit down and trim some things out and have them ready to go. That would be really helpful. It's just really nice, if you have a little bit of time, you can just sit down, grab your images, grab your book, and just see what happens. Play around for a while. And then, if you have to suddenly get up and go, it's okay. You can come back to it later. This was a pocket of time I actually had yesterday. It was raining and it was early in the morning. No one else was awake yet. So I just snuck into my studio and I knew I wanted to do this. I wanted to just have some time. I had been doing some other things. I like to switch it around, or mix it up, I should say. So I'll do illustration one day or prompts one day, and then, I might work in my glue book the next day. Then I might, who knows, just jumping from journal to journal. I might do my nature journal. I like to mix it up and keep things moving along. And the glue book especially is very relaxing because you're just grabbing images that are already there and just figuring out how to make them look nice. And there's no wrong way to do it. I mean, there's really no wrong way to do art anyway, but I think you get what I'm saying. You don't have to worry about, oh no, I painted this mark and I wish I didn't do that. Let me figure out how to make that work. It's like, this is just gluing, relaxing, and no pressure. And you'll see here, I love how these images all kind of go together. Not so much the fire or lava, on the left there, but I like all these sunrise or sunset pictures together. So I didn't have enough to cover the whole page, but I practically have the whole page covered. And so I'm thinking maybe I'll find another piece that I can put in that section that's left. And this fish image I have had forever. By forever, I mean, I think it's been over a decade, which I think is a really long time for images. They're just magazine images. But it feels really good to get this stuff glued into the book. And these are my orange pages. And I just thought those leaves looked so beautiful. But look at that person on the back of the fish too. There was a moment where I paused because I loved that person too. But originally when I took this image, it was for the fish. And I just decided to go with the fish. And I like how the fish say life too. I liked that. So I thought we've got these beautiful leaves that are alive. We've got these fish. So we'll put them together. And then I had another leaf image and I thought, well, I've got leaves on one page. I could put the leaves together. Now that I look at it, it does have the sun peeking through. I could have put it on the page before there where I had the sunrise sunset pictures, but I decided to put it on this page. And I fussy cut some of the leaves, but then I wanted to still be able to see the sun's rays. You can see some of my other pages I have done in previous sessions. It is exciting to see a page fill up. There's a lot of deliberation too. Taking a picture, seeing if it works, and then, you're not sure if you want to make the commitment yet. Sometimes things right away, you're like, oh yeah, that goes there. And sometimes you're like, I don't know, I might find something else that works better. And at the end, I'll also do a slow flip through so you can see the pages, you can see the details and things. Because I know it's a little fast here. Now we're on a yellow page, and I had this page I had already done with some bees and honeycomb, and I found another bee, so I thought, well, that guy's got to go on there. And this image I love. I thought it was just a little too big, so I was like, okay, I'll rip it. And then, of course, I cut it, and I cut it a little too much because I didn't measure or anything, so there's going to be a little bit of white space at the bottom, but that's okay. And the ruler I found works really nicely for tucking the image in if you're going to have it go across from one page to the next. The ruler is really nice for getting in that crease. And this lady on the right, I really love. I wound up not using her because I actually thought she would look really cool in a fairy journal. So I put her aside, and she's going to go in my folder that I have now for a fairy journal. It's kind of like a magical and slash fairy sort of journal I'd like to make. Magic forest, fairy, magical creatures, all that sort of stuff. I have several folders now where I am keeping images that I find as I find them for future projects, which I hope I will do. And I love the image on the left too. I love this lady. It's two of the same lady. It's like herself. She's keeping herself from seeing or something. There's definitely some meaning there that one could ponder. But I love it. And then, sometimes these little images, these chairs, they're pretty random, but I absolutely love them on that page. And I'm thinking I would love to have somebody sitting in those chairs eventually. So we'll have to see who I can find. It's got to be somebody or something. Could be a yellow creature or animal or something. And there we go. I found just a little scrap from a sunset that works perfectly for covering up that bottom of the page. That was a super fast edit there where I had the penguin image and then I fussy cut the penguin out, and look at that. I can cover up most of the beauty products that were on that page. And I love this penguin. This beautiful yellow penguin. It's beautiful. And he's bringing you a flower. He's a very thoughtful penguin. And I have these flowers. Love these flowers too. I had fussy cut a couple of those out, so that was nice. Those were pretty much ready to go. And then I found another bee. So there we go. I'm making a bee page. Just kind of turned out that way. And I still have a lot of yellow images, so I thought, let's keep going. Let's make another yellow page if we can, because I do have quite a lot. But I didn't have anything that took up the whole page. So I'm putting some of my larger images, I'm pulling them out, and I'm seeing how I can get them to work on the page to take several large images and cover up as much as I can. I like how that person looks on the right, that face. It looks like the trees are like hair. I think I move it though. I don't think I wind up. I'm not going to cheat and look in my glue book, but I'm watching this back and I don't know if that person winds up being there. We move things around so many times that sometimes you forget, like, where did I actually put that? It is interesting, too, when you are actually creating and then later, if you're editing and watching yourself create. I know that sounds weird, but it's kind of funny because you might place something as you're, like, thinking about it and like, should I put this here? And when you're watching it back, sometimes you're thinking, why didn't I put it there? I love that spot. Why did I move that? So it's weird how your perspective changes. And I think that's true just day to day. If I had waited and done this collage today, most likely it would be a completely different collage. It could be the same images, but they probably wouldn't be in exactly the same space. I think it's very just dependent on your mood for that day. Something might look amazing to you one day, and then you look at it later and you're not sure why you did that. But it made sense in the moment. You liked it in the moment. Just kind of interesting. The other thing I think is always really cool is I feel like we could all have the same exact images and we would all glue them differently. And that is really fascinating. I feel like I want to do that. I want to exchange the same images with somebody and just see how we create pages. I'd have to have 2 of the same magazine and cut out the same exact stuff and send it. I just think that would be really cool because I know everybody would do something different, even with the same stuff. Might be a few things that are the same or similar, but I'm sure there would be a lot that would be different. Let me know if you've ever done that. Have you and a friend or family member or anybody ever used the same images just to see how different your pages would be? I realized too that I have a lot of stationery that I wasn't dipping into for this glue book or just glue books in general. I was thinking that I needed to use magazine images, and then I realized, well, I have other stationery. I have origami paper and different journaling papers and things I had picked up that I could also use in here. So I did that for these 2 pages, that flower paper on the bottom right, and then those sort of mason jars on the top left there, that pattern with the fruit inside. Those are both from my stationery stash of papers from Japan that I had picked up a couple of years ago, but I don't have a ton of yellow, and I know I always say this, I don't have a ton of purple, so I thought, well, let me go and look and see what I have in my stationery, because I probably have things in there I can use instead of just thinking of magazine images. I love using the magazine images, but why not use anything we have? Even stickers, I've got stickers. I could look at my stickers. And I was thinking too that I could just make some painty papers too. That's a great idea. If you don't have a color, you can just make it. You can paint right in the composition book. You don't even have to have a separate paper. Or you could paint on a separate piece, and then that way you could rip it. You could have some nice edges if you want. Something like that. So I might do that for purple. I did find a few more purple images, but I may get out some paint and do something like that. I just think it would be really cool to just have some acrylic paint throughout the glue book as well, just to do some patterns here and there. So I covered up these pages, and oh yeah, the face wound up on the top left. Oh, another bee was found. This whole page is just going to be covered in bees eventually. All right, and now we will move on. So we have done red, we've done orange, we've done yellow. So now I'm going to see what I have for green. Green is the color I have the most of. I think that's because green is my favorite color. So I tend to love to rip out green images. I think I see green more often because I love green. Or is green more prominent? What do you think? I love green though. All of these colors appeal to me. I was going for this sort of maleficent fire sort of green tones for these pages. So I was pulling together my images that were all sort of like that, because I had done a previous page where I did sort of a woodsy, naturey page. And then this one I wanted to do something else. Okay, and I do actually regret cutting that chameleon. I loved that chameleon picture so much. And I was thinking he was walking along this big long branch. And I thought, well, maybe that branch looks weird. And I cut it off, and then it was just his head. Look. And I couldn't make it work because it just looked bizarre to have just his head. So I do regret doing that, but I will find a cool purpose for that chameleon because I love the picture. And instead, we have a nice praying mantis. But I thought that went with, a lot of these images are a black and green, except for the heart. That splashing heart doesn't really go with the other things as much, and yet I love it. And I love the blobby jello. That picture is so cool. I feel like I got that from a magazine that Care sent to me. I'm trying to remember, but I love that image. And I did cut it out so you could see like the blobular shape on the edge, but it does mean that there's a little bit of the composition book, so I'm just trying to find little scraps of green that I had cut out that I can just glue here and there to kind of cover up anything. And then if it turns out I can't find a little image to cover up things, then that's when I would probably just put a little paint in there or something like that. We can always find something and make it work. But yeah, the heart's a little different from, I feel like everything else is sort of similar. The heart's a little different, but I just loved how it looked kind of splashing up out of the blobs. And who knows what else is going to happen on these pages. This is just the beginning. That little turtle I know I got from a magazine Care sent me. It's a little solar-powered turtle. His shell lights up. Oh, look, see the chameleon. I'm like so heartbroken. I want him to work, but he's just not going to. And that's my last green page. Oh, the chameleon, I'm still trying. This is my green page and then going into blue on the next page. And I just love this underwater diver picking up the rock. I just love the green tone. I love the treasure. So I thought I'll add some more sparklies, make it like there's all treasure under the sea. For a second I thought maybe the chameleon is the one diving, but no. So this one's pretty simple, nice and easy because there's the large image. The only thing I didn't like was that text in the bottom right, but we can just cover that right up, can't we? Just put a few gems and jewels there, and we are good to go for now. Then we have another nice big image to go on our first blue page. And look, we have a scuba diver. So I thought this was just kind of perfect because we have two divers, or not a scuba diver, it's a snorkeler, right? I think she's snorkeling on the right because she's at the top. But still, let's say we have two underwater explorers, underwater enthusiasts out there. So I think those two go together really well. Now for our next couple of pages, I'm going with a different tone. Now that lady, love that image. She's going to come back, but not for these pages. These are going to be a more softer sort of blue. So I am flipping through my stash here and trying to see what I have that kind of matches these nice natural blues, sort of like cold blues. And I just love that huge bird being perched there. And I'm not thinking that that bird is just close to us and that's why he's big. I'm thinking he's actually ginormous, like he's just huge. And you don't see his feet. So his feet could be in the snow, or I may find something for his feet later, his feet to be in. But for right now, we'll just say they're in the snow. And these are just some men's shirts from Land's End, but I thought the color is perfect to go with this ocean water background. Just going to glue down all those little bits because they're always poking up. But yeah, even like a Land's End catalog or any clothing catalog, you can just cut out the shirts. You don't have to have the people. You can just have the shirts for the pattern. You can even trim out the buttons so that way it really just looks like fabric. You don't see that it's like a shirt. You just see fabric. But yeah, just some scraps over here on the right, different scraps of paper. I just found like a little blue bit here and a little blue piece there, and I just cut them out, and now I'm just collaging them together. Just fill in that page. And then that makes me happy because I feel like it's ready for the next thing. I like making these backgrounds. This is really fun. And I think it'll be like even, I don't know if it's even more fun, but I think it's going to be super fun as well to like find a large image and figure out, where they might go. And it's just going to change the whole look of the page. Maybe. Do you find that? Do you find that the page sort of changes its whole tone, with the addition of like a particular image? You could have a background that seems, sort of neutral, but if you put like a really angry character, like a big angry character, on top of that, you might change the look of the whole piece where now the background, maybe it looks a little darker or, just a little more complicated. I don't know. Tell me if you guys find that. I think it's true, though, because it's like if you have the same background, you could hold up like a really serious picture of a person or a really happy picture of a person. And the page will give you two, of course, like completely different feelings. So it's really interesting to see what the final product will be. And this lady on the left, I loved her and I loved the colors. So I could not wait to use that. And again, it's another large image, so that's like woohoo, covering up that page. And then on the right we have my mishmash. We have my like Frankenstein style page where I'm just collaging and combining a lot of different fabrics. Again, a lot of these fabrics came from the Land's End catalog. Some of it was patterns that were on kids' clothes, some of it was grown-up clothes, just a little bit of everything. I think the clouds at the bottom were from like a mac and cheese ad. Something like that. And I don't even remember what that is, but I thought those looked like bat wings or something. I just thought that was cool, that little blue piece up there. And then my little UFO, that was another pattern from clothes. And same with this cityscape, that was another little pattern. So some really cool patterns, and once you cut them out, they don't look like they were just on a shirt or on pants, they just kind of become patterns that could be anywhere. And you know what I'm doing, just trying to cover up that little bit at the bottom that you can see. And it doesn't have to be amazing looking or anything like that. And that's it. So here we go. These are the pages. We glued an airplane on that red page. And on here, we just have some of these fabric pieces that were glued on. And the tomatoes. We did the tomatoes. Got some new images here. We got to look for some more stuff to fill that up. And same with this one. But it feels really good to get started on a lot of these pages. We got these ones, done. The background done. Some nice orange pages. And here are some more orange, almost done. These ones are all covered, just waiting for something else to show up. We added a couple of bees on this yellow page. This one we did before, but then here are two new yellow pages. And two more. These are pretty well covered. And then let's go to our green to see what was new that we added. Let's see, those are from before. Here we go. We have our Maleficent green sort of colors. Maybe I have to find a Maleficent picture. And then we have our green going into blue pages. And finally, we have our blue page here with our big bird. Gave him a little pom-pom hat for fun. And these blue pages. And now, stay tuned and I'll tell you about my file folders. Okay, so just really quick, I wanted to show you these expandable file folders that I got. So they look like this. And when you open them, they have 3 different sections inside. So I bought a few of them and I'm separating by color. So here's my purple in there, and then brown, and then black and white. So I had to get a few of them to fit the whole rainbow, but the nice thing is that when I want to work on a color, I just grab the purple out of this section, pull it out, and then I can get cracking. So it's really nice to have everything, and then I can just tuck it right back in there. And like I said, I think Allison had one that had a little mini folder, like kind of on this top, which I was looking for because I thought it would be great to put little images in the little folder and then the bigger stuff here. But I did also find, along with those, I'll put this away in just a minute, but along with those I also found these little folders. They just look like they're all different, like patterns, but they came in a 2-pack. So there's this folder, and then those ones did come with a little pouch like this. So it's not attached, but this might still be a good option to put little images in. And then for these ones, I'm putting my themes in. So this one is actually my rainbow. That's actually part of my colors glue book. Hold on. But I have a few of them. So here we go. So this one I have is home and garden, peaceful space, and relax. So I'm putting all my images in there because I'd like to make a journal about that. And then this one is childhood, which basically means like 70s and 80s sort of images and things. I'm putting in this one. And then I have another one that's like cooking and another one that's fairies. So I just wanted to show you, in case you had images that were everywhere like I did before, that, you know, you might like these sort of things. And, you know, let me know what you do with your images. I'd love to know. But that does it for today. Thank you so much for stopping by. Really appreciate you being here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you again soon.